Alright, so everything's great, can't complain, life's been good, I've been in my apartment 3 years, life's back in order, I thought I'm going forward. Life has to come slap me in the face. But I definitely overreacted, so I thought I'd record a video and explain what happened. Lying on my couch today, this morning, this afternoon, whatever. Peaceful at last, after 3 years of trauma. Get a knock on the door, which never should happen. I live in an apartment. Let them leave a fucking letter. Disturb me in my door. So I go to the door. It's the superintendent with a note. Everyone's getting this note. It's to add, now that marijuana is legal in Canada, they have to add it to the lease if we had no smoking clauses. So I see this paper and I just fucking lose my mind. Everyone in this, half the people in this building are potheads. The hallways always smell of weed. They know we smoke. What kind of a fucking disgusting piece of shit wakes up and decides that he's gonna... I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go into the details of it. But then, so I lost it. The guy in front of me tells me that he's not going to pursue us because he knows we smoke. It's just for the new tenants, blah, blah, blah. I couldn't hear it at that point. I was already triggered. So I said a lot of things that were wrong. Like, he said, well, the landlord has a right. And I said, yeah, well, you know what? I have a right to break the landlord's legs as long as I'm willing to pay with 6 months to a year in prison. I said, basically, that's a right? There's a consequence to everything. So, he could have taken it as a threat. So there's a chance that I'm going to get arrested. But I just losing it. And my neighbor across the street, she's a woman, she's a friend of mine. She signs the paper, and she's as much a pothead as I am. And I'm screaming, losing it, saying, don't fucking sign. Don't sign. Yes, this guy in front of us is not going to come after us, but he may lose his job. He doesn't own the building. You're signing away your rights. Anyways, I lose it at her. I start criticizing women in general. And basically, after they leave, and after I close my door, it starts to sink in. And then I realize that I completely overreacted. For one, we already have a no smoking clause. And we all signed it, and we all smoke anyways. And second of all, what I realize is that it's probably an insurance issue. They probably want that on the insurance so that if the house burns down or whatever, the building burns down, he's protected. But still, there's this part of me that's so what I realized that when I slammed the door, and I slammed it hard, I was, out of control. I got triggered for the first time in months. And I split. Basically, from the landlord becoming a decent guy, I totally split, and he became the most evil piece of garbage on this earth, and I was just... my mouth was going at 1,000,000 miles an hour, at 100 decibels or greater. Whatever that means, I don't know. I'm not sure what decibels are. So then I thought about it. I'm saying, all right, obviously I still have problems. This is why I'm not working for a boss, and this is why I don't have a girlfriend. Then I said, well, what is it? What happened? And I figured it out pretty damn fucking quickly. Throughout my entire life, I would get knocks on the door, beginning in my childhood with my parents, who completely changed the rules on me with no explanation and no justification. And now that I know that, there was no marriage, my parents were never really married, and they were scapegoating me for all kinds, well, now I understand there was a reason. They just couldn't tell it to me. So my entire life, my brother and I think particularly myself, until my brother died from the last one, were met with these changes in rules for no reason. And our parents would just say, my dad would say, tough titties. My mother would just hide away. So I get triggered to that, because, I don't see the justification first. Had I seen first the insurance idea, I would not have freaked out. But how could I have seen it? Because growing up, I was never able to see what the justification of my parents were. And something else that I was triggered today is how many times in my 30-year working career was I equally as happy in a company, in a position, did nothing wrong, but somebody changed the rules, and then from happy, an hour later you're in this state now, distraught, with the potential of not having an income, and not having, and even if you do get an income, you've got to go through all this extra work now, in a traumatic state to find new income, just like I'm going to have to do potentially for an apartment, and again, it was never any fault of mine, and I'm not the only one. And an example is Patreon. I kind of deserve this because Patreon banned a whole bunch of users, and YouTube, closed a whole bunch of channels, and because most of those people were right-wingers and I'm a left-winger, I was kind of enjoying it. But I knew I'd pay in some way. So, this is the way God paid me back for laughing at the way people in power can take advantage of people without power. We have a lot of rights here, so I definitely have a fight. It's not like I have to get evicted or will get evicted, but the fact is I lost it today, and I just cannot risk that again. I mean, I always do things that are grounds for arrest. And something I thought of today when I was freaking out, I said, if I was a cold, callous psychopath, I would have held back that anger, I imagine. And I would have projected it in some other way, I believe. In other words, I would have, instead of expressing my distaste for having my rights stepped on, I imagine the anger would have been greater, because right now I'm still angry, but it's definitely dissipated. It was only 3-4 hours ago. Now, it's probably too late. I made a terrible display. I was completely out of control. Man, I should not answer the door. Every time someone knocks on my door, I end up freaking out, because who the fuck knocks at an apartment door when you have a bell downstairs? Anyways, I'm fucking pissed off.